So many people, including psychologists, talk about improving self-esteem, whereas we should really be looking at improving self-compassion. Obviously, working in the field of chronic pain management, I've met countless individuals who have suffered in the same debilitating way that I have. In the beginning, I hated my pain until I learned more about it. Now I've learned more that my pain is a messenger, and it's taken me on the most fulfilling journey. But I never want you to forget that you are not alone. I can promise you that you are not alone. I've been there. I struggled with chronic pain for 15 years. It was the worst time imaginable. Hey guys, nice to be with all of you again. Today, I've got some really interesting things to talk to you about. So as you know, I work as a chronic pain management clinician, and my main area of focus, or my bread and butter, so to speak, is pain science education, which I'm really passionate about. But the beauty of pain science education is it fully acknowledges the appropriate use of other modalities in the treatment of chronic pain. So as long as other modalities fall within a biopsychosocial perspective, which we've spoken about already, then pain science education fully acknowledges their use. And on my pain journey, I've picked up a lot of really valuable things outside of pain science education, but that can be incorporated alongside pain science education. And my goal for you being on this channel, I want you to be able to use and build as many tools as you can to help you on this chronic pain journey. On my journey, I initially started with a toolkit that had relatively no tools in it, but I gradually got tools from different places, different modalities. Some tools were cognitive behavioral therapy, others could be mindfulness, a variety of different things. So I want you to conceptualize your journey as you having a toolkit. And gradually we are building up, we're gradually incorporating new tools, new valuable things in this toolkit. And over time, when you get this toolkit much bigger, you are going to be so strong. And I'm so happy to be on this journey with you. So today we're going to talk about something that I put in my toolkit a while ago and something that has been so valuable for me. So this thing is called self-compassion. And I'm sure some of you have heard it, but I'm not too sure if you have actually incorporated it into your life. But self-compassion has been so valuable on my pain journey. And just like a range of other techniques, it's not everything, but it's a really valuable tool that when used alongside all your other tools can be something that can be incredibly, incredibly helpful. So basically, what is self-compassion? Self-compassion is basically being kind to yourself, showing yourself care, understanding, and acceptance. And a way that I love to conceptualize self-compassion is treating yourself the same way you would treat a really good friend. So I don't know about you, but I tend to be really critical on myself. I've got this part of me in my head that can really beat me up, drag me down, and can make me not feel good about myself. The idea of self-compassion is to cultivate a dialogue with yourself, so to speak, where you treat yourself in the same way that you would treat a best friend. I don't think I treated myself that way for a very long time. And when I started to treat myself that way, it really made a significant difference. So there are three elements to self-compassion. The first element is kindness, treating yourself in a kind manner. The second element is the shared human experience, realizing that whatever you're going through, there are multiple other people who are also going through that same thing too. The third element is mindfulness. You cannot be compassionate towards your suffering if you are not aware that you are suffering in the first place. I read a beautiful book on self-compassion. It's by a really good researcher who's dedicated her life to studying self-compassion. Her name is Kristen Neff, and she has written this book called The Proven Power of Self-Compassion. I will link it in the notes below, but if you want to have a look at any self-compassion work, that's definitely a fantastic place to go to. And one thing that she highlights that I absolutely love is the distinction between self-esteem and self-compassion. In our culture, so many people, including psychologists, talk about improving self-esteem, whereas we should really be looking at improving self-compassion. The key differences between self-esteem and self-compassion is that self-esteem is almost reliant on you performing in a certain way, thinking positive things about yourself, doing well, having a good sense of self-worth. But your self-worth isn't always stable and your achievements aren't always stable. And that actually tends to make you compare yourself to others. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is not dependent on any outcome. And you can give yourself self-compassion even if you are feeling really terrible. So they are quite different. I suppose in a way, self-esteem is striving, whereas self-compassion is giving yourself love and care in any given context. So let's speak about a couple of the elements of self-compassion and how they apply to pain. I think this is really going to help you. I'm really excited to share this. In a previous episode, I mentioned to you that alongside my chronic pain, I also struggled with obsessive compulsive disorder. And I'm sure many of you chronic pain sufferers, as I mentioned before, no one ever just struggles with chronic pain. Often chronic pain sufferers struggle with concurrent medical diagnoses that run parallel to their chronic pain journey. So in my case, it was OCD. I then went to an OCD peer support group, and for the first time in my life, I met countless other people who suffered with the same thing, who were going through the same shared human experience. For me, that was the most valuable thing ever. When I started to have OCD flare-ups, I used a variety of different tools, but one tool was saying to myself, Alex, you know what? You're not the only person who goes through that. What about Barbara in the group? What about Dave in the group that you went to? What about Stephen? So suddenly I knew all these people who were suffering from the same thing. And that was incredibly helpful. That really helped me on my OCD journey. I then started to extrapolate that and apply it to my pain journey. And I realized I'm not the only person suffering with chronic pain. There are so many people struggling with chronic pain. And obviously working in the field of chronic pain management, I've met countless individuals who have suffered in the same debilitating way that I have. And it's so empowering to realize that so many other people also struggle with the same thing that you are struggling with. So when I give myself self-compassion, I now realize, or I at least acknowledge, that so many other people go through it. So what does this look like and how exactly do you apply it to the chronic pain experience? So typically, when I'm experiencing pain, I first of all show myself kindness. I speak to myself the same way I'd speak to a really good friend. At the same time, I really love to put my hand on my heart. And I say to myself, Alex, I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's so difficult, and I know how hard you're trying. So that's the first element, is kindness. The second element is the shared experience. So, Alex, you know you are not alone. There are so many other people who are struggling with the exact same thing as you. The third element is mindfulness, which you've already shown in the first and the second element. So when you're aware of your suffering day to day, you can put your hand on your heart. You can speak to yourself in a kind way. As I mentioned, it doesn't take away all the pain, but it's a valuable tool in your toolkit, a really valuable tool. In terms of chronic pain, I can promise you that you are not alone. I've been there. I struggled with chronic pain for 15 years. It was the worst time imaginable. In the beginning, I hated my pain until I learned more about it. Now I've learned more that my pain is a messenger, and it's taken me on the most fulfilling journey. But I never want you to forget that you are not alone. I promise you are not alone. Actually, the statistics vary, but it's estimated that worldwide, about 20% of the population struggles with chronic pain. And when we're talking about chronic pain, we're not talking about a very brief acute episode. We're talking about consistent pain for a prolonged period of time. So more than 20%, that's 1 in 5 people. You are not alone. And even if you cannot see them, or even though you don't know that they're in pain, just think the next time you walk outside, you meet 5 people, it's likely one of them is going to be suffering in the same way that you are suffering. And that's incredibly, incredibly empowering. And I hope that can help you a little bit on your journey. So I've got some things I would like to read to you. So as I mentioned to you before, I always carry these cards around with me. And the cards are really important reminders that I like to implement in my day-to-day. And they really help with a variety of different things, including chronic pain. So I'll read you the first one. When our troubled, painful experiences are framed by the recognition that countless others have undergone similar hardships, the blow is softened. Okay, so that is the shared experience element. The kindness element is, there's more to me than the pain I'm feeling right now. I am also the heartfelt response to the pain. Another one, a lot more simple. This is a moment of great pain. Everyone feels this way at times. So as you go through the day, remember to cultivate awareness. You can do this by trying to be mindful, and you can even incorporate mindfulness practices in your day-to-day. When you're aware of your pain, be kind to yourself. Put your hand on your heart. Tell yourself that you are aware of your suffering. Speak to yourself like a good friend. Tell yourself that you love yourself. You can even give yourself a little hug like this. Hugs are wonderful because hugs release oxytocin, which really soften pain. So be kind to yourself. Remind yourself of the shared experience. 1 in 5 people are going through the exact same thing. You can even remind yourself about me. I still go through the same thing. I still have my mornings. I manage it so much better, but I still have those days. So do those things. It can really, really help you. I've got some homework for you, but before I give you the homework, I want to share something with you that I did a long time ago that really, really helped me. So I got into the habit of writing myself letters, and I actually wrote myself a self-compassion letter dedicated to my pain. So I will open it up and I'll read it to you before I give you your homework. So I actually wrote this a very long time ago, so it's really special to be able to read it again. So let me read it for you. So dear Alex, I know that you've struggled with chronic pain from a very young age. I remember the endless doctors, investigations, frustration, and despair. Even now, you still tackle this challenge on a regular basis. And although it's easier than it was before, I know it can still have a huge impact on you. It must be so difficult going through this type of pain, Alex. And I'm so proud of you for standing your ground all this time. You have remained strong and resilient throughout your journey, and this is testament to your amazing character. Remember that the pain of physical suffering is a shared human experience, Alex, and that you're not alone. You have a deep connection to countless others who know exactly what you're going through. Their suffering is, in a way, also your suffering, and you're so much closer to them than you may think. Try to hold your pain with love. Can you try to love it in the same way that I love you? Can you see how your pain is an expression of the universe, and that how you are part of a much larger, interconnected whole? Can you see what your pain has given you? I'm here for you whenever you need me, and I'm incredibly proud of you. Love, Alex. So I addressed it to myself. It was from myself. It had those 3 elements. It had mindfulness, or being aware, because you cannot be kind to yourself unless you're aware of what you're going through. It had kindness, and it had the shared experience element to it as well. I think for some people it can be awkward writing a letter, especially if you haven't done it before. But another thing that you can do, which I've also done in the past, is record a message to yourself on the cell phone or on a recorder or whatever. And then you can play it back to yourself, and it's incredibly empowering. It can really, really help you. I'm so happy I got to share this with you today. And as we progress on this journey, we are going to build up that toolkit. We're going to do more and more things together to get you really, really strong so that you can eventually overcome this pain experience. Self-compassion is a really valuable toolkit on the journey with chronic pain. So from you, I would like you to go write yourself a letter, or if that's too much effort, to record yourself even a 2-minute message, incorporating the 3 elements of self-compassion. If you are willing and brave enough, I'd also like you to write in the comments, what would you say to yourself if you could speak to yourself in the same way that you would speak to a really good friend? What would you say to a really good friend who was experiencing chronic pain? Put those thoughts in the comments. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say. In the next session, we're going to speak more about different tools. So we've got a couple of really good tools in the toolkit. We're just starting. Don't worry, we're going to put a lot more tools in the toolkit. We're going to get really strong. But self-compassion is so important. As always, you can ask me if you have any questions. You can visit my website. I also do one-on-one consultations, so you can get in touch with me if you'd like me to walk alongside you on this journey. But in the meantime, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And yeah, thank you for letting me share too. I'm so grateful I can reinforce these principles which are so important to me. Cheers for now.